All right, I'm going to start off. Really meant to say something Saturday at the press conference after the game, and got rolling on the game. But just to acknowledge, Dr. Freddie Fu and not only his impact on the University of Pittsburgh, Pitt athletics and Pitt football in specific. I mean, we wouldn't be sitting in this building if it wasn't for Dr. Fu. So all our prayers go out to his family. I know it's not easy, for them. I had some contact with Dr. Fu, I guess a week ago, and just a strong guy that that's been impressive. And again, we can't thank the whole Fu family for everything they've done for Pitt athletics and Pitt football. So we'll start off there. Obviously, it was a good win, the kind of win you want, the kind of win you needed. It was a great job by our guys responding and understanding how do you go play in those football games. We talked about trying to make it a dominant performance, and I think it was. One of the keys offensively was to run it, pass it, and protect it, and we did all three of those things. I think if you go into every game and you protect the football, you're a 4-0 football team, and you got a chance to win every game. And when you look at even just Georgia Tech right now, I think they're 12th in the country in turnover margin. They're winning that war every week, and it's given them a chance to win every football game. So, was impressed obviously with their offense and what they did. Defensively, I think 9 3-and-outs and played well. Gave up one big 70-yard run, which drives you nuts. We can't do that when we get into the ACC play. I wouldn't say a fit problem, but more of a physical problem. Just being physical and attacking things, and not just sitting back on your heels, which we can't do, and that's not who we are. But other than that, played the pass pretty good and put pressure on the quarterback and caused a lot of problems there. Obviously, as I said Saturday, the preseason's over. We head into into conference play against a really good Georgia Tech team. They've played well in every game this year. Got beaten in the opener to a MAC team. We know that feeling. Northern Illinois, perennially is a good football team, and they learned their lesson from that, and beat a Kennesaw State option team early, and then went on and played their hearts out against Clemson. We know Clemson's still a good football team. I don't think anything's changed there, but I see a much improved Georgia Tech football team, and then obviously they did a heck of a job, played a lot of motion in the dome down there in Atlanta, and knocked off a ranked North Carolina football team. So. We'll have our hands full for the third time when we go down there again to Atlanta, and our guys got to be prepared, not only mentally and physically, and look forward to having a great week of practice. So, questions?
What did you think of the game in North Carolina Saturday?
What did I think of it? Obviously, Georgia Tech was impressive. I think defensively, we'll start there. Defensively, Georgia Tech, changed their scheme a little bit. They came out in 4 down against Northern Illinois, which I think, they had not played a whole lot of 4 down, but I think they played a lot of 4 down because they were waiting for the next week option where they probably would be in 4 down in that week as well. And I think they surprised Clemson a little bit with some of the 3 down, stacked defense they had, and then came out and did the same thing against North Carolina. I'm not sure if North Carolina knew what they were doing, but very multiple what they're doing. A lot of blitzes. Their linebackers are really good. Their D-line does a great job of penetrating. They're not huge up front, but they're athletic and physical, and they're tough. And they play with a lot of effort, like we try to do here at Pitt. So, defensively they got after Sam Howell and that North Carolina offense, and they made enough plays on offense. They run the ball well on offense, and they ran the ball against North Carolina and out-toughed them really.
What's your impression of Jordan Yates?
Jordan Yates is a good football player. He obviously took over for an injured Sims, and obviously Sims came back and had a heck of a ball game in the second half, and he's athletic. He can beat you with his feet and his arm. Yates, can beat you with his feet as well. I mean, we won't be fooled. Very similar type things they're doing offensively with both those quarterbacks. So it's not like they're changing, but one's got a little bit more run to him. He's going to keep it a little bit more. They'll have some design quarterback draws, which got us at Tennessee a couple times, and so we expect to see some draws and that kind of stuff and get Sims going.
Is that something that you guys look at back on film from Tennessee and say, hey guys, look at yourselves, what we got to do better?
Well, what you put on tape, and I think this is always interesting. You sit there and, I say this every year, like, who are we 2021? We're not 2020 defense or offense anymore, so it's a whole new ball game of what we do and who we are, and we can, feel good and know, hey, we feel pretty good going into the season, but you're playing against each other every day. So you know, I think what you find out, going through 4 games is, who you are, what you do well, what you don't do well. And when you look back at 4 games and say, what are your weaknesses, people are going to go back and, we've worked a lot on RPOs last week, and changing things up and doing some little things here and there, and we'll continue to see a bunch of RPOs on normal downs, 1st and 10 and P and 10, Jerry, as well as second down and medium, heavy RPO team that we've got to be prepared for. And but people will try to replicate anything, any of your big plays you've given up, you're going to see it. We saw an outside zone kind of stretch it and puncture us last week, so we got to be more prepared for that. We got to, anytime you show a weakness on tape, people are going to go after your weakness and say, hey, let's try that, let's do this. And you see a lot of copycat stuff. Even last week, New Hampshire did a lot of copycat from what, people, Western Michigan did prior to. So, we always kind of try to identify, is that offensive coordinator a copycat guy? Is he, or is he a guy that, hey, this is what we do and we're not straying from it? So, certainly with them doing RPOs, they're going to take a lot from the Western Michigan game. So, we obviously give them a different look.
Are Sims and Yates similar enough that you won't have to prepare for 2 different quarterbacks?
No, you got to prepare for 2 different. As I said just a few minutes ago, obviously, Sims, you got to be careful because that guy can go and he likes to pull it and he likes to run and he's going to use his feet. So they are different. I think Yates is more of a passer and Sims is more of a runner, but the type of offense you're facing doesn't change. It's the decision making and maybe some of the play calling. They'll have a little bit more of one thing than the other.
Okay.
You're going to see more quarterback counter with Jeff Sims, and tailback flaring out or whatever he's going to do. Whatever they want to do to us is try to get us, the eye candy. But you're just going to see maybe more quarterback runs with him. They'll run a quarterback run, but it'll be 1 with Yates and 4 to Sims.
And obviously with 77 points, a lot of attention to the offense after the game. What did you see defensively? What were some of the things, progressions or improvements that you liked in what you saw defensively Saturday?
Our defense? Hate to say it, just more emotion, more, just like they played angry, I think, and I think that's the biggest thing. But you can go out there and it's not a matter of, where you have your guys placed and what you look like structure-wise. It's about how you play. And, we started off, in an attack mode. And that's, I just like the aggressiveness of our guys and just taking it over as opposed to waiting, playing on your heels. I think we played on our toes instead of our heels.
Pat, with North Carolina obviously losing to Georgia Tech, and then Clemson went down as well. A lot of parity in the conference already this season. Where do you feel your team's positioned as you go in the conference play now?
We're positioned to play Georgia Tech this week, and it's all that matters. You look at, they talk about coastal chaos. It's ACC chaos. It's Atlantic. It's coastal. It's college football. Look around the country. I think in the first 4 weeks, you look at New Hampshire, FCS program. I think 10 FCS teams beat Power 5 teams in the first 3 weeks of the season. You look at what we did, and again, New Hampshire still, ranked in the top 20, or at least was last week. They're a top 20 team, and again, I expect to see them in the playoffs. They're a playoff team, but there's a lot of FCS teams, getting those wins. So there's the parity we talked about last week. And again, you see it all across the country. You're not just seeing it in the ACC. You're seeing it in the Big Ten. You're seeing Ohio State, get upset and beat, and you're seeing, MAC team beat Minnesota. You're seeing it all over the place. And again, I think the portal and a lot of those things has a lot to do with it.
I was going to say, do you attribute some of that to the older players with the super seniors and things like that?
Yeah, a little bit of it. The super seniors, the transfer portal, a lot of guys, even, you look at their roster, they got, transfers. Their starting left tackle is a Vanderbilt transfer, so they, they got a wideout from Miami. So, the transfer portal also is helping out. And where someone is weak, they're able to strengthen it, immediately. Instead of going to the junior college, which you used to have to do, now you can go get someone that's, been college ready. So
We heard from Kenny and Mari about, they had a players only meeting that right after the loss after Western Michigan. How much you've been here for quite some time, but this is a different set of seniors, a whole bunch of seniors that can do that kind of stuff. How different do you think it is this year with that kind of leadership where you have that many guys in the room?
it's good. And, again, Kenny's that guy. Kenny's the one that called that thing. Saturday night, he texted me, said, "Coach, can we have it?" And it's like, you can have whatever you want. You can have them every day. And I think I said this a week ago, when, good teams are led by, by their coaches, and great teams are led by their team. But, you can't wait till there's an issue to have that team meeting. It's got to be constant. It's got to be consistent as far as, what you're trying to get and delivering the message that the coaches are delivering.
How do you treat the players-only meetings as a coach? Are you kind of trying to figure out what they're up to, or do you just let them do their thing?
No, I mean, we had a leadership meeting first, so I knew what they were up to, and they wanted to run it by me and get my thoughts, and they had something on their mind, and like I said, Kenny led the charge, and the rest of the guys backed him, and it was great.
Now that the preseason's over, will it be easier to grab your kids' attention and retain the kids' attention because your conference games now?
I think it is. I mean, I think it always is. I think some of the hardest games you go into, those ones where you got to get ready for the game. Like we didn't have to get our guys ready for Tennessee. They were cranked up and ready to go, play with a lot of emotion. They emptied their tank as far as the energy part of it goes, and the message this week is empty it again, because then you got an open week next week. So we'll put everything we got into it. It's ACC, and I think they know that's been the goal, is to get in the ACC and have a chance to win the ACC.
What impressed you about Rodney's performance on Saturday and the way he played? Has that earned him more opportunities, maybe in some higher leverage situations running football?
It does. You feel like you got three tailbacks that you can go and rotate them, and we rotated Izzy and Vince like we said we were gonna, and then we were able to get Rodney going, and he's a strong physical, runs low to the ground, and spins and twists and just fights for those yards. He's a tough runner, and it does give him an opportunity to go play more. You got to make sure he's good in the protections and all that stuff, but he did a nice job. And obviously AJ Davis has been out, so it's given those other guys a chance to develop and get even better, because you were kind of leaning on AJ because how much his knowledge base was, and now it's like these other guys are getting more knowledge because we haven't had him for the last couple of weeks.
Now that you had a chance to look at the video from the game, what do you think of your new offensive line?
I liked it. I liked it, but again, it was against New Hampshire, and we'll see what it looks like against an ACC football team. But Matt Gonsalves did a great job at right tackle. Gabe Hoy, embraced that guard position, enjoyed going in there and doing it. He was fired up going into it because he's played guard in the past, so he liked that change up. And then we'll just see what we got this week.
Do you have to treat it any different going into Georgia Tech now that they're under a new regime? You aren't going to be getting that triple option every year.
Yeah, we haven't had to worry about that for the last couple of years, so they're not that new. To me, they're old. They're old, and you can see their offensive line development. It doesn't look like they're in three-point stances, trying to get a backside chop and cut people. They look like an ACC offensive line. And again, Coach Collins done a heck of a job of developing that program and building it up to where his first year was a transition for sure, as big a transition as anybody's got in the country, going from a triple to a conventional 2021 offense, and personnel-wise, they looked the part, and that's why they've given Clemson and North Carolina fits the last 2 weeks.
As far as you know, was any consideration given to having get knocked down to Atlanta 3 years in a row?
That's above my pay grade. Other people make those decisions, and we messed it up in the COVID year, so there's no changing back. No consideration.
Now, when you're facing a team that has forced a lot of turnovers, what's the line when you're preparing for that of making sure you're cautious, but also making sure you're staying aggressive and not afraid to make a play?
Yeah, we got to go. You practice that way. You got to be aggressive offensively and defensively. You won't change. We can't change the way we play. And I'm going to hold onto the ball with two hands and run an inside zone play. But it's just you're going to practice it. Our show team, our rocks, our scout team, whatever you want to call it, we've got to do a good job at just making our guys feel it every day, at punching the ball out, twisting, ripping, trying to get the football out. And we've done that the last couple of years when we've gone down there. They've traditionally been that team that's always trying to go after the ball. They tackle the ball, and we got to do a good job making sure our guys hold on to the ball when they're anywhere on the field. And that's what we do every week, but we'll just make them more of an emphasis this week, even more, that they're ball hawks and they're going after the ball.
You mentioned the Rocks. Who's been standing out in that area for you guys through the first month of the season?
There's been a lot of guys. Nate Yarnell was outstanding. He did a nice job. He's a little bit banged up right now, but Nate was outstanding on offense. Ryan Jacoby has done a nice job on the Rocks. He's a guy just still, waiting on the clock there to see what's going to happen with him. So I think Daniel Carter's done a great job as a tailback for us as well, giving us a great look down there, helping us. Jaden Bradley, who's earned himself reps going up, Solomon DeShields, didn't have a great camp, but has really turned it on in the rocks and heated up to the point where there was the first week it was kind of slow, like probably disappointed he was on the rocks, and we moved him up and to special teams because of his play on the rocks. So trying to think of who else. Elliot Donald's done a nice job. Nakai's been up and down. Last week he had a great week, and we lit a fire under his tail a little bit. So we're happy with where those guys are. And again, there's more names than that. Luke Delgadio's done a great job of pressure, just giving us pressure on our punt team. He's one of those guys got knack to block punts. He actually got 2 snaps, walk on, and so he's done a nice job. And we're going to try to reward those guys that play hard.
He made his debut this past Saturday. Is he a guy who, at this point, though, you think he's going to redshirt?
Yeah, I think he may have played against UMass. I can't guarantee you that, but I thought he did get against UMass. But we'll look at it. We'll just continue to see how it develops. We're not saying he's a redshirt yet. We'll just continue to see. He's got more energy. There's another guy just on the rocks that you see how he's grown up on those rocks. First time he was kind of timid and what am I doing over here, to the point where now he's having some fun. He kind of he's got the emotion for those rocks over there. He's an energetic guy, and I like what I see emotionally out of him.
Anything final? The last time you played Georgia Tech, Jeff Collins was a little short with you after the game. Have you had a chance to talk to him since then?
Yeah, I think we might have talked about this a long time ago. We're good. He was, you get upset after games. There's nothing personal. Okay, but we talked at media day face to face, and he apologized, and it's over. It's over as far as I'm concerned. We'll have a nice pregame talk. There will be nothing to that. He's a classy guy, and again, I appreciate him apologizing. But I know how tempers go. I didn't take it personal. It's just not how we're going to do things anymore, I hope.
You said that Georgia Tech likes to try to tackle the football. Do you have to kind of talk to your skill position players, say, hey, they're going to be tackling aggressively, don't try to get too fancy, getting away from them, make a big play?
Yeah, that's how we'll practice this week. They just need to know they got to tuck it, and, as soon as they catch it, as soon as they get the handoff, and then, again, we got to, we can tell them all we want, but we got to show them on the field, and that's how important our rocks are going to be this week of just getting the ball out. So usually I go down the inside and encourage those guys, like, hey, we'll go down and get a milkshake down the road for everybody on the defense. Have the GAs go out and get them all, their favorite flavor of milkshake if they can get a turnover, of just forcing it. And I haven't had to buy any turnovers, so our guys are offensively doing a good job holding on to it, and got to continue to do that.